Hello everyone, my name is Frederico Links and I'm the editor of Namibia Fact Check. With this video, we would like to invite journalists to become part of efforts to debunk COVID-19 related fake news, disinformation, myths and conspiracy theories. These have come to pollute the information space around the novel coronavirus, and it is time that everybody become part of efforts to dispel all the rumors, myths and hoaxes out there. So to start off, what is busy happening? So since the COVID-19 pandemic broke out in China in late 2019, there's been a flood of disinformation accompanying the whole pandemic. And in early February this year, the World Health Organization labeled what was busy happening around the information on the information ecosystem accompanying COVID-19, labeled it an infodemic. And what this means is that so much information has accompanied this pandemic, and a lot of it is just pure false. And then in April 2020, just a month before this recording, the UNESCO, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization, coined the phrase disinfodemic. So in coining the phrase disinfodemic, UNESCO states, COVID-19 disinformation creates confusion about medical science with immediate impact on every person on the planet and upon whole societies. It is more toxic and more deadly than disinformation about other subjects. That is why this policy brief coins the term disinfodemic. Now, UNESCO produced two policy briefs, which they launched on 24 April, looking at the disinfodemic, what the causes are, what the themes are, what the types are, and also what the responses have been from journalists, from health authorities, and from governments around the world. This is a wonderful resource, and it's something to look at when you're trying to get to grips with understanding what's busy happening on the COVID-19 information ecosystem. UNESCO identifies 4 key disinfodemic types. These are 1. Emotive narrative constructs and memes. 2. Fabricated websites and authoritative identities. 3. Fraudulently altered, fabricated or decontextualized images and videos. And 4. Disinformation infiltrators and orchestrated campaigns. Now, what emotive narrative constructs and memes are? These are false claims and textual narratives which often mix strong emotional language, lies and or incomplete information, and personal opinions along with elements of truth. These formats are particularly hard to uncover on closed messaging apps such as WhatsApp, for instance. 2. Fabricated websites and authoritative identities. These include false sources, polluted datasets, and fake government or company websites, and websites publishing seemingly plausible information in the genre of news stories. For instance, reporting bogus cases of COVID-19, and we've all seen these sorts of reports. 3. Fraudulently altered, fabricated or decontextualized images and videos. These are used to create confusion and generalized distrust, and or evoke strong emotions through viral memes of false stories. Once again, there have been a lot of these sorts of this sort of content and items going around on social media platforms and in groups since January 2020 through April 2020. 4. Disinformation infiltrators and orchestrated campaigns. These are aimed at sowing discord online, advancing nationalism and geopolitical agendas, illicit collection of personal health data and phishing, a monetary gain gain from spam and adverts for false cures. And we've all seen these. We've seen the false cures, we've seen the messages trying to get people to click on links that take them basically nowhere, but basically which allows hackers to access people's personal data. We've also seen examples where fake World Health Organization ads have been sent out which claim to be from this reputed global entity to get people to pay money to someone for a fake job at the World Health Organization, for instance. UNESCO has also identified 9 key themes of the disinfodemic. These are: 1. Origins and spread of the coronavirus disease. 2. False and misleading statistics. 3. Economic impacts. 4. Discrediting of journalists and credible news outlets. 5. Medical science, symptoms, diagnosis and treatment. 6. Impacts on society and the environment. 7. Politicization. 8. Content driven by fraudulent financial gain. And 9. Celebrity-focused disinformation. Now, of special importance and significance to journalists and media organizations is number 4, which is discrediting of journalists and credible news outlets. And this is what UNESCO says in their policy brief. This is a theme often associated with political disinformation, with unsupported accusations that certain news outlets are themselves peddling in disinformation. This behavior includes abuse leveled at journalists publicly, but is also used by less visible disinformation campaigns to undermine trust in verified news produced in the public interest. Attacks on journalists in the time of COVID-19 have been associated with crackdowns on critical coverage of political actors and states. Now, we've all heard the stories, we've seen the news around issues such as these, where media organizations and journalists are made out as fake news. And some of it has been done by very prominent political leaders internationally. So the question becomes, what can Namibian journalists do to counter the disinfodemic? And here we don't have to recreate the wheel, because a lot is already being done and is being done by organizations out there already in terms of countering all the fake and false information that is circulating on social media around the world. In this regard, I think one of the best resources that journalists should keep an eye on is the CoronaVirusFacts Alliance database of the International Fact-Checking Network, which has over 5,000 fact checks and debunks of disinformation related to the COVID-19 pandemic. So, for instance, if you wish to search for a specific term in terms of information that you've encountered on social media, for instance, and you want to debunk a specific claim or myth or hoax, or something that you suspect of being disinformation, all you have to do is go to the database, CoronaVirusFacts database, and type in a key term. For instance, bioweapon. What should come up is a list of debunks and fact-checked articles from around the world featuring that specific term, bioweapon, with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. And as you'll see, there is quite a lot from countries around the world available in the database, which Namibian journalists then can use to ground their own reporting, or if they are doing a debunk or a fact check on something that they've encountered on social media. Another wonderful resource to look at is Africa Check's live guide to all the coronavirus fact checks. This you'll find in a link on their website, and if you go there, they have categorized their debunks and fact checks under various headings. For instance, cures and prevention, hoaxes, half-truths and scams, and there it shows that they've done 38 fact checks. Manipulated or out of context videos, images and articles, there they've done 46. Conspiracy theories, origins and predictions, and so it goes if you take a look at those. And then they also link to other resources that have to deal with COVID-19 related disinformation. And it's worth taking a look at these and clicking through to these resources to see if there's anything that speaks to how you wish to address the specific disinformation that you are trying to debunk or to fact check. And then there's AFP Fact Check's running list, which is called Busting Coronavirus Myths, with all their fact checks and debunks going all the way back to January 2020. And it has over 433 fact checks. This is another one where journalists can make use of work that has already been done by journalists in other parts of the world, where you can go and search for specific items that have already appeared elsewhere and that you probably wish to use to reference if you are doing a debunk or a fact check. And then of course there's First Draft, which offers a reporter resource hub online. And if you go to that page on the First Draft website, you'll find a wealth of resources to help you debunk and counter disinformation on social media, as well as how you can approach ordinary people, family and relatives and friends, and speak to them about all the disinformation that they are seeing on social media. So there's a lot there that you can access and make use of in terms of better communication in the era of COVID-19 and in trying to dispel all the disinformation out there. Another resource for journalists worth looking at is Covering COVID-19, Resources for Journalists by the International Center for Journalists. And when you go to this webpage, you'll see there's a lot going on there in terms of learn from experts, join discussions, tips, and see research. And if you just scroll through, you'll see that there's a lot there that speaks to the experiences of journalists in terms of dealing with reporting around COVID-19 and the disinformation that has accompanied the pandemic. So, I mean, these are all resources that you can take a look at and make use of to help you understand what's busy happening in terms of not just the infodemic and the disinfodemic, but also in terms of how others around the world have approached reporting and how to make their reporting better. And this is what it's about. It's about communicating the facts better and in a way that speaks to what the information that publics need in order to reassure and to engender understanding and not to fall for all the disinformation out there. Another area that journalists, Namibian journalists, should be looking at is doing social media verification. But why do social media verification, you might ask? Well, studies indicate that increasingly people are getting their information via social media. Secondly, many people are sharing a lot of information via social media, and many journalists are generating stories and sources on social media platforms. Third, most of the disinformation, propaganda, and a lot of cybercrime is spread and perpetrated via social media. And then fourth, social media amplifies disinformation. We've all seen how this plays out. So when we're doing social media verification, we're basically trying to understand user behavior. And what this means is, very briefly, in terms of what we're looking at, is, has the account, the social media account, been active for a long time? Is the profile linked to a real individual? Is a pseudonym being used? Does the account have lots of followers? Does the account post a lot? Or does it post little? Do the posts often share the same topic? And do they occur from a certain location? And are they liked a lot? A lot of people responding to these posts. Can one see the likes on these posts? And are there any other social media accounts linked to these profiles? So this is what we're looking at in terms of social media verification, is looking at user behavior. Now, social media verification is one of those areas where Namibian journalists do not have to reinvent the wheel, as organizations such as First Draft have already developed tools and toolboxes to assist journalists and ordinary people. The First Draft verification toolbox makes it possible to try and determine the origin, for instance, of an image, and to do a reverse YouTube video search. It allows to search Twitter for Twitter usernames and profiles, photos, videos, anything they encounter on social media. And this is a wonderful resource because it makes for a basic verification exercise. So make use of First Draft's verification toolbox for a basic verification. It's got a lot there, it offers a lot, and if you want to go beyond that, there are some other tools that you can use, but which you can also then access through organizations or web pages such as First Draft. We've all encountered conspiracy theories in the era of Covid-19. For instance, you've probably seen the article about the young women in Walvis Bay who committed suicide. Well, that was because of a conspiracy theory around 5G internet technology and infrastructure. And it's things like these that show just how, what the power of conspiracy theories are. Part of the disinfodemic that has accompanied the COVID-19 pandemic has increasingly become conspiracy theories that have gone viral globally. Most of these theories emanate from amongst established conspiracy theory groups on social media platforms, but have seen an escalation and amplification of these theories as the outbreak has gone global since January 2020. So what are conspiracy theories? Well, conspiracy theories are basically beliefs that hold that powerful individuals and powerful groups want to do harm to societies and to ordinary people, and that their intention is to control societies and to benefit and exploit people and the wealth of these societies. So that's basically what a conspiracy theory is. And usually it is not grounded in fact or in truth, but takes from elements that are true or that are factual and incorporates it with sort of random connection of dots that ultimately, in most cases, contradict and do not make sense and do not hold up under scrutiny. So that's basically what a conspiracy theory is. So according to the Conspiracy Theory Handbook, conspiracy theories damage society in a number of ways. For example, exposure to conspiracy theories decreases people's intentions to engage in politics or to reduce their carbon footprint. And in the era of Covid-19, conspiracy theories around testing and tracing and social distancing have already had an impact on public health. And conspiracy theories around a potential vaccine could lead to people not wanting to be vaccinated or believing that the eventual vaccine will contain the virus itself, and in that way make people ill and cause death, as part of this thinking that powerful forces and individuals are out there to try and harm ordinary people and to harm societies in general. So the Conspiracy Theory Handbook states, in order to minimize these harmful effects, this handbook helps to understand why conspiracy theories are so popular, and in this instance they identify 4 reasons why conspiracy theories are popular. Firstly, feelings of powerlessness, where people who feel powerless or vulnerable are more likely to endorse and spread conspiracy theories. This is seen in online forums where people's perceived level of threat is strongly linked to proposing conspiracy theories. Secondly, explaining unlikely events. For the same reason, people tend to propose conspiratorial explanations for events that are highly unlikely. Conspiracy theories act as a coping mechanism to help people handle uncertainty. 3. Coping with threats. Conspiracy theories allow people to cope with threatening events by focusing blame on a set of conspirators. People find it difficult to accept that big events can have an ordinary cause. A conspiracy theory satisfies the need for a big event to have a big cause. 4. Disputing mainstream politics. Conspiracy theories are used to dispute mainstream political interpretations. Conspiratorial groups often use such narratives to claim minority status or to claim status of being marginalized or exploited, and this gives this conspiratorial groups something to coalesce around. So thank you, folks. We hope this video will help you understand why it's important for journalists and media organizations to be part of efforts to counter the disinfodemic that is accompanying the COVID-19 pandemic. If you need any further information, please do not hesitate to contact us, either the Namibia Media Trust or Namibia Fact Check, if you wish to explore some more resources that could help you in your debunking and fact-checking work. And it's very important that you be part of this effort. Please do follow us on our social media links and profiles, and if there's, as I said, if there's anything else you would like us to assist you with, please do reach out to us. Thank you very much.